Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and to a car chat. It's been forever since I've done a car chat. It's been like 2 years. But today's video is going to be a little different, but I wanted to actually give my reaction or my opinion on this documentary that I just watched. It is called What is a Woman by Matt Walsh. So I recently discovered who he is a few months ago, and since then I've kind of been venturing in the more conservative side of YouTube, I guess you could say. Now, I don't necessarily align myself with either political party, be it Democrat, Republican, at least not anymore. I also don't label myself liberal or conservative because I feel like people on both sides be wilding out here. However, I must say, lately I have found myself kind of leaning a little more towards the conservative side, because a lot of people on the liberal end of stuff are they're just doing too much these days. They're doing entirely too much. And yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. This documentary, What is a Woman, I was very intrigued after watching the trailer. Now, obviously a lot of this documentary was based on what is going on in the LGBTQ plus community. I've done a few videos regarding this community in the past, more specifically about the trans. I try not to really touch on this subject on YouTube because y'all already know how it is. I'm not a part of that community. And you gotta be careful what you say out here. It just is what it is. People be real quick to try to come for you. Because, well, we're no longer operating off of facts. We've become a society where people operate off of feelings more than facts. So, you know, I'm just like, listen, I let people live. If your life ain't affecting me, I really don't give a shit. But it's just a lot of things I've been seeing lately that's just, as a woman, I can't help but feel a type of way sometimes. Like, I just can't help it. I don't want to give too much of the documentary away or kind of spoil it for people, even though this will kind of spoil it in case you want to go watch it. It is only available on the Daily Wire, so I did have to sign up. I opted for the monthly subscription so that I could see it. So anyway, the whole premise is based off of the title, What is a Woman? So throughout the documentary, Matt Walsh is visiting different people, including college professors, therapists, people at women's rallies or whatever, asking the question, what is a woman? And I found it so incredibly interesting that none of these people were able to answer that simple question. None of them.
What is a woman? Can you tell me that? Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea. Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that?
It was a whole bunch of like circular answers. Honestly, the most common answer was a woman is anybody that identifies as a woman. Okay, cool. All right, so what is that? What is a woman? A person that identifies as that. But what is it? Any person that chooses to identify as a woman. But what is a woman? Like, nobody could answer what is a woman. Or the answer would be like, well, it's many things to many people. It can mean an array of things. So I'm like, okay. So as a woman, what you're saying is what I am, my reality, who I am as a person is basically just open to interpretation. There's a woman is anything. Like, there is no biological reality to what I am. Basically, anyone can just one day wake up and decide I'm a woman, or I as an individual can now decide what a woman is. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting. It's funny because as much as people don't want to answer the question, every single person there knows very well what a woman is, which is specifically why trans women go through the procedures they go through. They do the cosmetic changes that they make, the hormonal changes. They dress a certain way. They style their hair a certain way. They put on makeup, blah, blah, blah. Because they know what a woman is. It's what they are trying to achieve. If womanhood or being a woman or what is seen as a woman by society wasn't something specific, they wouldn't go through a whole freaking transition to try to become what they believe a woman is. or what society believes a woman is. Like, we all know. Why are we dancing in circles? Why are people afraid to admit what a woman is? It's just very interesting. It's very interesting. Or people who are non-binary or whatever, especially if they're born a female, a biological female, they will try to distance themselves from what is perceived as a woman, because at the end of the day, we all know.
You're not a scientist. You're not a gender studies major.
No.
How do you know that you're a man?
I guess because I got a dick.
Another thing I found very interesting is that a lot of people would be like, why did you care? Like, why do you care about what a woman is? Or when he would say, like, I care about the truth. Like, I just want to find out what the truth is. They deemed that as being offensive and being transphobic. So now the truth is transphobic. Interesting. So one part of the documentary, he basically, he goes to this tribe in Africa. I forget the name of the tribe, but he was asking them, you know, their thoughts about, you know, what is a man, what is a woman, and they gave very clear-cut, simple answers. A man has a penis, a woman has a vagina. Each, you know, gender has their own role. A man cannot become a woman cannot become a man. And it's funny because a lot of activists will say that gender and all this stuff, that's very much like a Western thing, or it's like, I don't know, effects of colonialism or whatever the hell. And a lot of people will try to say that gender and sex are like these two different things, and that gender doesn't necessarily equate sex, that gender is way more of a social construct, which I can agree that to an extent different societies will kind of construct different roles for men and women to a degree. Or you'll see societies that are more matriarchal, or societies in which the gender roles are more even, whatever. However, I think in the vast majority of the world, you see very distinct roles for men and women. And I don't think that we can sit here and deny that a lot of these social gender roles are very much rooted in the biological realities of what a man and a woman are. I don't think it's a mistake that women typically, throughout most of history, even though they may have had jobs here, had to do something to financially support the family, at the end of the day, a woman's sphere has mainly been around the home and taking care of the home and taking care of children. Why? Because biologically, we have the ability to bear children. We're the ones that go through pregnancy, we birth children. So naturally, we just kind of fall into that role. And for men, I don't think it's just merely a social construct that they have typically always been the providers for their families and the protectors. Why? Because men, they have a lot more testosterone. I think they're more naturally inclined to fight and protect their families. They're literally physically bigger, so it makes sense that they would be the protectors. Like, a lot of it is based off of the biological realities of what a man and a woman are. So anyways, this African tribe had no problem saying that.
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
Now, a part of the documentary that got to me was when they were interviewing some of the female athletes. Now, a lot of y'all know this whole thing about trans women being in women's sports has been a really big deal. And honestly, I feel like it's unfair. I feel that it is very unfair. When I look at people like Leah Thomas, because, you know, part of it was talking about her, I'm like, and every time I see them broad ass shoulders, I'm like, how is this fair? How is this fair? And this one girl, she was like a high school athlete, and she was talking about how, you know, her high school career has been very affected by the fact that she's been up against these trans girls. I think it was 2 in particular, and she was saying how every single competition that they have, they win. They always win. And I'm like, yeah, of course, why wouldn't they? And for people to try to deny the biological realities of how these boys, they're not identifying as girls, how they have no advantages, whatever. I'm like, why are people turning a blind eye to reality? It's like, that is what I don't understand. People are willingly turning a blind eye to reality for the sake of protecting their feelings. And you really feel like some of these people aren't going to take advantage of that? Like, come on, y'all. I feel like if anything, let trans women have their own sector of sports. Because it's just not fair to have them competing against biological women. It's just not. I'm sorry, but it's not. I feel like I'm giving away a lot of what was in the documentary, but whatever. Anyway, so another big thing they talked about was hormone blockers, puberty blockers, and this one hormone blocker in particular, I think it's called Lupron or something like that. It is literally used to medically castrate sex offenders or PEDOs, okay? And they're giving this to children. Now they will lie there and say, oh, that it's completely reversible, how this is, you know, gender affirming therapy, and blah blah blah, and how it's helping children, etc. Something that is given to the most vile offenders, sexual offenders, is being given to children and being marketed in this way. And y'all don't see nothing wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay. This is what we're doing. This is what we are doing.
Puberty blockers, which are completely reversible.
Completely reversible.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders.
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview.
So you don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or?
And the fact that it's just becoming more and more allowable to give this to children at a younger age. The fact that people really believe that the majority of children that express any type of interest, things of the opposite sex, they're now automatically trans. And you have to affirm their belief that they are trans as children. This is what we're doing? So girls are no longer allowed to be tomboys. There aren't boys that maybe just happen to be a little more feminine. They have to be trans now. And you, as a parent, now you have to go ahead and put your child on puberty blockers. Or at, you know, in their teenage years, allow them to go through gender reassignment surgery. That's what we're doing. Listen, I know somebody listening to me right now might be like, you're definitely transphobic, blah, blah, blah. I'm really not. And the thing is, I can actually feel sympathy for individuals that are genuinely experiencing gender dysphoria, because I can only imagine how horrible that is. Like, I feel for them. But it is such a huge deal that I feel like is being taken so lightly. And I do not feel that a lot of these so-called medical professionals are doing what they're supposed to be doing to properly guide these children, counsel these children, and help them work through whatever problems they're working through. Because the other thing a lot of these people won't talk about is how many people end up detransitioning. Nobody wants to talk about that. The life-altering things that these people are going to go through. There was one trans man in the documentary. He straight up says, I will never actually be a man. I went through the procedure to look like a man, but I will never be a man.
I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male. I will never be a man.
But he was talking about the risks involved with that. And I think he was saying that he himself gets infections every like 3 to 4 months, and that's something, you know, he'll have to deal with for the rest of his life. And that he probably wouldn't even live to be that old. And I just want to say, I know there are people that have gone through their gender reassignment surgeries, and that really was the best decision for them as individuals. And I wouldn't take that from them. But I feel like it's just, I cannot agree with this being pushed so much onto children. I just cannot. And how we more and more we're seeing this being pushed into classrooms, to kids at younger ages. Like, kids are not allowed to be innocent anymore. Why are we talking to kids about sex and sexual orientation and sexuality and let them discover that shit on their own? Why is this being pushed? Or teachers pushing kids to, oh, now pronouns and all that. Listen, don't even get me started on the pronouns. Why? Why? It's just crazy to me. Anyway, so throughout like the later parts of the documentary, they started getting into some of the individuals that were kind of the behind all of this gender ideology stuff, and they brought up this one famous case which I had heard about before, about these twin boys who when they were babies, they were supposed to get circumcised. One of them accidentally, you know, they ended up, the doctors like burnt his penis off, whatever, and they decided to raise that twin as a boy. And then just this whole case, this whole thing, and just the serious effects that had on that child, because although they were raising him as a girl, he never felt like a girl. He wanted to do boy things, and it messed him up psychologically, totally messed him up. But anyway, I don't want to give away too much of the documentary because I feel like I'm saying too much. It wasn't until the very, very end of the documentary that someone was able to finally give the answer to what a woman is. So, look, you asked me what is a woman? I'm going to tell you. A woman is an adult human female. That's it. That is what a woman is. And I do not feel that as a woman, what I am is open to interpretation. My experiences as a woman, my ability to give life, the fact that my breasts produce milk, the fact that I menstruate every month, it is a reality. It is a biological reality. My womb produces life. I am a woman. That's it. That's it. I'm probably gonna get hate for this video. I know I am, but it is what it is. And I just want to reiterate, I honestly have nothing against individuals in the queer community, LGBTQIA plus community. I really don't. I have been close to, you know, people in my life that have been part of that community. That it's really not that at all. But I feel like while they should have the right to live as they choose, to love who they want to love, we also have to operate within the realm of reality. And honestly, my only main issue with all this right now is that it's being pushed onto children. That is my main thing. The children, and I don't feel that it's fair to female athletes. I do not feel it's fair that trans women are competing against them. I just don't. I do not feel that it's fair. But anyways, guys, I don't want to say too much because I already know, like I said, I already know I'm going to get in trouble for this video. But if you want to check it out, it's on the Daily Wire. You do have to pay to watch it, but I feel like it was a very well put together documentary. It's an hour and a half long, and I was like intrigued, just glued to it the whole time. Yeah, so definitely check it out, guys. If you liked this video, you already know, give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. My channel, of course, isn't really based on social issues. Well, sometimes I have touched on it. It's more like a cultural thing. If you don't know, I am Dominican, so a lot of my content is also surrounded around that. But anyway, guys, let me know what y'all feel down below. And yeah, guys, see you next time. Bye.